community organizations with the stated mission of the children's self-esteem, helping the children, getting better education, etc. How many of them still have been sending their children right to these hybrid Europeans and never read the philosophy page, which is available to anybody? And they told you what they were going to do to your children. And then we think we are encouraged to believe that these children are intellectually hampered by their nature or their genetics, not knowing that we entrusted them to a priesthood who has not their best interests at heart.
Right.
And they're not even trying to hide that, are they?
No.
Why? What would you believe or know or think or deduce that why they do little to hide that? Is it because that they trust and are pretty assured that these parents who claim to love their children don't read themselves?
Absolutely.
Yes. So they're confident that they've already succeeded in their job, so there's nothing to hide. Why should they hide it? The people are held as animals. They're referred to as herd. They're referred to as sheep.
That's what they've been talking about. They're going to achieve herd mentality.
Well,
herd immunity.
Is even when they start doing experiments on the people again, that duplicates the Tuskegee experiment. Do you hear anybody talking about that now? Do you hear people talking about in that frame of mind? Do you see them lining up to get poked?
Mm-hmm.
There should be absolute outrage. They should be going through for their necks. They should have not enough rope, and yet they're doing it again right in their face.
I had an experience today. I was at a new store. Met a beautiful sister that owned, a melanated sister that owns a fruit and vegetable market that they put in the hood where we've had food deserts. Mm-hmm. So to have these fresh fruits and vegetables in a wonderful, beautiful place in there. But I didn't have a mask on, right? Mm-hmm. She didn't have a mask on. At the very end, when we were finally transacting business, she was on like I don't know, it was like a PayPal type little thing. It was a small thing, and or one of those registers that's like you would get like CASHAPP or PayPal. It must have asked the question. She said, "You don't have to answer this," and I was paying with at this time cash. She said, "You don't have to answer this, but are you vaccinated?" Something came up on the question on the register about whether or not I was vaccinated. So I took a cue from my dear sister Jenny Pitts, and I said, "Wow, that second one," I said, "it was rough." Right? Mm-hmm. And I looked at her like, "Really?" Because she said, "You don't have to answer this." So it wasn't her. She wasn't asking me for her. Yeah. They've got it embedded in there's something in the machine, and I wasn't even using a credit card or a debit card.
It doesn't matter.
She said, "You don't have to."
Grooming? Isn't that part of the grooming?
I thought these people are hell bent.
Their herd mentality.
I couldn't believe it.
Yes, you can. That's the point.
I'm like, they have it everywhere. You can't escape it.
Look for worse.
You can't escape this shit. I'm sorry.
But anyway, Dr. J, your comment on the philosophy page for Frederick T. Gates, Gates, and John D. Rockefeller.
Did you get a bill for that, Gates?
But it goes shows you how the paradigm continues. It wasn't even gone.
But here's the deal. But that's listen, let me go back to that, because this is what it said. We just gonna teach them what we need to keep them where we want to, and we will teach our children, in other words, to maintain. Did you see that? Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. That's what it says. It says that they're gonna make sure their children know what their philosophy is, so they can keep this going. And obviously they have.
Has it been a secret that they have maintained private schools for their own
No.
and deliberately, not because of any of it, but deliberately priced them out so that the average people can't afford?
Let me read that last thing. It says, the task we set before ourselves is very simple
and beautiful,
as well as a very beautiful one, to train these people as we find them to a perfectly ideal life just where they are. They talk about in the country, in the rural. So we will organize our children and teach them to do in a perfect way the things their fathers and mothers are doing in an imperfect way in the homes, in the shops, in the farm. In other words, we're going to get our children, they're going to do it better than they're going to control
perfectly imperfect.
They're going to do it better than we did it.
And then you look at your children now, right? And multiple levels, on all levels, they are what? Disrupted, disoriented, distracted, self-destructive, low quality culturally. And we talk about, we care about them. And yet we keep delivering them to the hybrid Europeans for an education, to get a degree in animal husbandry responsiveness. And what is stated in that philosophy is itself animal husbandry. And that's how they've been grooming the children. And they're counting on what? That the people won't read. It's there, but how many people are aware of it? Which means for all these years, for all these, how many generations that we've been sending children to school, we've been going to school, getting degrees.
Years ago.
We're getting degrees, etc., paying for it, coming out of these institutions in debt. And it's all animal husbandry.
Yeah, when you shared what the 8th graders do, that's why people talk about 8th grade education.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. You know, you could even share the issue of fundamental orthology. And you recognize that most people with a so-called college education never even heard of orthology. Couldn't tell you what it is. But yet that's, as an example, 8th grade education in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm. Orthography, right to it.
Yeah. Then you notice that test was before the General Education Board was invented for human engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So just read off some of the subject matter, Dr. Naila.
What they were studying. Okay, arithmetic.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks pretty, history.
Mm-hmm.
Orthography, geography, and what else? Health. So these are the things, but
That's funny, but that's 8th grade.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
See, so just so in case anybody wants to know, orthography is that part of grammar which treats correct spelling according to accepted usage and the way in which words are conventionally written. By extension, orthography relates to any mode or system of spelling and treats the nature and values of letters and of their combinations. Orthography is derived from the Old Moorish Latin word orthographia.
And so you can see most of the people, including the parents, are not even aware of that basic rule in grammatication. And so when you talk about, the children can't read, etc., the parents can't either, and won't. But it goes to show you again how even with the operators of the Board of Education, how they contemptuously disrespect the parents. But you can see why. Parents have been cheated out of the fundamental tools.
And now what they're teaching them is totally like.
Exactly.
Can you
dumb down? They're already dumbed down.
Sexuality, gender,
exactly.
decisions, and whether you want to
and
be.
again, what's that? Margaret Sanger Operation for Genocide. How do you do genocide? If you kill the family and kill mating, you're killing the people. See that how that works? What man you know got a womb? You ever heard of a male having a womb?
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of a man being a Stargate? Man don't have a womb. So what if you get the men disinterested in the women? How long is it going to take you to kill the people off? If his mind is messed up, he's not thinking to protect her or even to what? Mate her. So as less they have to kill, it doesn't it? It means that's less they have to kill, right? Then the women are killing off the other ones, sending them to all burger joints, unknowing to them. That's the carcasses after they've been stripped of their organs. Now that's another fact that our people, the reality of the thing is far uglier than people think it is. They bleed them, i.e. they take their blood, they take their organs, then they get rid of the carcass parts that they don't use and feed it back to the people through burger joints. That's a fact. That's your priesthood for you.
Here's a question. From DD, Dr. G. Grand Sheik. So the younger generation can know where can you find documentation the Moors founded the true Republic and Constitution?
Honestly, Confederation. As a matter of fact, you can. I think who exposed some of that, but you can do research. You do research on treaties, but I think Obama exposed that, and I think even Donald Trump signified that. And who else did? As far as the Praetors are concerned, that stuff is not a secret.
I missed the comment, but I saw I think Christian Gagan said something to the effect that in spite of what the Board of Education's premise is, what they set out to do, nevertheless, we have had our scholars and philosophers
but it
and
shows
scientists.
You the strength of our people.
Yes.
It shows you the strength and the determination that even with all their efforts, they can't block out the sun. No matter how many chemtrails they use, whether it's physical or grammatical. So the chemtrails in the education system would be called connotative linguistics, which we've already been telling you about for years.
There's a question about the rise in, I saw it, no, something about the rise in interracial marriages. I know I saw something, but I'm not aware what's behind it. The rise, the increase in interracial, ethnic.
There's two things. Well, read out clear.
Advertising,
give me some clear.
Well, they're asking me basically what's behind all what we're seeing about the.
I'll tell you. Clear the questions for the audience. Make the question clear, direct.
What do you think is behind the fact that they're showing in advertising and so forth a lot of interracial couples and whatever? And what do you is that again from a standpoint?
It's part of the social engineering. Number one, the hybrid knows in order for the hybrid Europeans to survive in the Uranus and Aquarian lights energies, etc., that the natural spacesuit, particularly for this corner or edge of the universe, etc., is called melanin. That's a natural spacesuit. Any being that's what you would call mutant, the sun will kill it. It is no different than if you pick up a rock and you find a plant and it has no melanin. If it does not, if the chloroform does not start generating quickly, it will die. The same thing goes for the hybrid. That's a fact. That's number one. Number two, because the genetic structure is highly recessive, that means the nervous system will be attacked by the UV rays of the sun, which will also kill it and also make it short-lived. Therefore, like anything else, just like they've been doing these rituals for years, they've been stealing children to steal their melanin. Now, things are moving so fast, they're going to have to come out of the box and do what? Try to get some melanin to survive. That's number one. Number two, politically, the deal is the people are starting to figure out that these hybrids, many of them are colonists. They are not Americans, though they've been claiming to be Americans. So that political paradigm is dying, and therefore the people will stop asking for equality in their own damn house and start asking for their house back. So therefore, it is important for them, and this is happening in many so-called corporate state marriage cases, where certain, because as a matter of fact, one I could tell you about myself, I can tell you about with somebody I know absolutely who's a Moor who happened to be in matrimony to a European sister, and the European sisters, and it's about 15 years ago or more in that area, and it's in Jersey. I'll just tell you that much. And she went for a divorce because he was not being the best guy, if you get the point. And the judge told her, and I'm telling you fact, the magistrate told her, do you know what that name you got? Are you serious? Divorce denied.
Really? Oh, you shared that?
Yes. I could tell you more, but that's other people's business. Why? Because the estate. Because that's another way that they get the estate, by marrying into it. And this is again why the Daughters of the American Revolution, that marble building you see in Washington, D.C., why do you think that is the only organization that issues citizenship manuals? Do you think that's just happenstance? No. It's European daughters who can prove that they were descended from Moorish harems. That's a fact. And that manual is used all around the world. And gives you all fundamental civics. How many of you ever heard of or seen the DAR manual? DAR. Daughters of the American Revolution. Another reason. So your question is apropos, and from a political perspective, that is their motive now. If they want to survive both physically and politically, that's part of it. That's why you see what you're saying. But those who knew it was coming. Remember, Noble Drew Ali told you that the day will come that they'd be throwing their women at you. None of this stuff is news to those who know what's up.
Washington Tallman says, too late to try and amalgamate with our people. This hybrid experiment is over.
Well, doesn't Uranus and the sun say so also? Mm-hmm. Again, I said what I said for a purpose on multiple levels. But that's not to denigrate and that's not to condemn. It's just to observe. Mm-hmm. Also, for those of you who would do a further social political analysis of current events with that paradigm, that fake paradigm of color being continued, look at the different programs of the late programs where they had Asiatic Africans always doing black shows, what they call black shows. all kind of black shows,
Like the exploitation.
to promote the burial again. They don't know it's for burial.
What do you mean?
Whenever they create these shows and they talk about black this and black that, black this, and they do movies and shows, it's for burial. It's estate burial. Those who can read is go orthography. I'm telling you. See, a being who can read can see it. A being who can't read can't see it because they don't know the etymon. They don't have a third grade etymon degree. They don't even have a third grade etymon degree. So you can put something in their face, and it's a contract, and they'll sign it. You tell them that you're going to kill you next week on Thursday. They say, "Oh wow, I'm getting free credit." And so I'm telling you, what they said in that philosophy page, they meant it. The war is so beautiful, the attack is so effective that they call it beautiful.
Yeah. You'll do this beautiful thing.
The attack
Like
of the priest by the priesthood is so well grounded and clever and deceitful, great deceiver, that they called it beautiful.
Beautiful.
And call it a task. Beautiful task.
The task we set before ourselves is very simple as well as a very
And so that's a
beautiful
missionary
one.
work, isn't it? It's a task.
Mm-hmm.
And they have what? Achieved their ends to a degree. But Uranus and Saturn got something else to say